I have this like hand right here, and I always make sure that like nobody puts the middle finger up before I record a video.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Our Business with Ness. I'm Ness and I'm a professional illustrator. Today I have something very special for you. I've collaborated with Sean Bianchi, aka the Art Mentor, right here on YouTube to bring you a couple of videos, one on his channel and one on my channel. Our theme is big clients versus small clients. You can find his interview of me about working with big clients in the description down below. And today in this video is my interview of him about his experience working with small clients doing personal commissions. Sean has a ton of experience with personal commissions, so it was really amazing to be able to ask him all of these questions. Let's get into it. Hi,
Sweet.
Sean. How are you doing?
Hey, Ness. Hey, Ness. I'm great. Thanks. How about you?
I'm great. So glad that you're here with us today.
Me too. Excited to be a part of this.
Yes, so I have a lot of questions to ask you about small clients, specifically commissions. You have a lot more experience than me in the subject, so really excited to pick your brain about it. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So I am in my full-time gig. I am an art teacher. I teach high school. I've taught for the last 11 years, served in a lot of roles in that. And then aside from that, I've also been a freelance artist, taking commissions on the side, like you just said, for the last 7 years. I've really gotten a lot of traction with that, probably over the last 4 or 5 of it as well. So when I say small clients, I'm working with independent people, mostly non-corporate clients. Though I have done some book covers, I've done some splash art for video games as well. I do concept art. And my predominant genre that I work in is the fantasy and sci-fi. So I kind of like the two ultra extreme ends. I do really high fantasy and really super far into the future sci-fi.
Awesome. That was actually my next question. I'm going to ask you what kind of commissions that you do. You have a sort of a digital painting, like semi-realistic sort of style?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so semi-realism and realism are definitely my things. I've also done a lot of realism portraits for people as well. Realism is something that like I teach a ton of in my full-time day-to-day. So it's something that I do a lot in my own. And so right now, I'd say what I'm doing the most of is Dungeons and Dragons characters. And I think that they're a really fun group of people to work with. There's a lot of imagination involved with it as well. Honestly, and I say this endearingly as a fellow nerd here, but I find Dungeons and Dragons clients with their characters to be nerds with a lot of extra money to spend. So they typically make a lot of characters, they kill a lot of characters, their characters die. And it's something that's like near and dear to them because they spend a lot of their time as their characters or LARPing as them. And it's like really cool to be able to just bring that to life and give them like a physical artifact of like, this is what your character looks like. So that's kind of stuff that really turns me on and I really enjoy making.
Awesome. I imagine there's a lot of demand for that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's extremely popular. It's very competitive as well, depending on where you're looking for it too.
Okay. I was curious, how do you formulate your offer? Is it kind of a, ultra whatever sort of thing, or do you have a more of a structure in what you offer, what you don't offer?
Honestly, a really good question because I was just arguing with people on Facebook about this last night. Because I think that the most common way that you see independent artists, freelance artists working with small clients is that you'll typically see them have a pricing sheet. So that's typically where there'll be like a line art or black and white color or 1 character, 2 characters, backgrounds, this and that. I don't really believe in that. I have it, but I've gotten away from it. And the model that I more so use now is I like to qualify my client. And what I mean by that is that I will show them examples of my artwork, but then I want to have a direct message conversation with them because I want to be able to qualify them and just talk to them about what are their needs, what do they want, what would really make them happy in their artwork. And then through that conversation, I can derive like what are going to be the difficulties for me as an artist. Because the one thing that I've found over my time, I think it's a little amateurish, or if you're just starting out, it's not a bad thing to have the price sheet. But inevitably, then you also get people who they demand too much from it, or they get offended if your price point isn't exactly as that. So if you're watching this and you have a price sheet, I'm not saying don't do it. But what you should do is that should be a base price.
Yeah.
And then from there, just imagine that you need to have that conversation with your client and just see what they need. Like, for example, if I have like a Dungeons & Dragons character and they're draconian and they wear crazy armor and they have a pet salamander and a monkey, like, I'm not going to charge them the same as somebody that just has like an elven character that wears like mostly skin tight leathery armor. It's very, very different. And there's a very different level of detail that I need to do. And that's why it's not fair to have the pricing sheet, because it doesn't accommodate for that. One of the things that I want to know too is it appropriate for me? Because I've been approached to do things that I'm not comfortable doing, like not safe for work artwork, or just things that I've literally felt nauseous after reading a couple of times. I'm like, oh God, why do you want that? So yeah, it's really important to qualify your client and not just give a blanket price of like one character is this amount, because I've done one character that takes me no time at all, and I've done characters that drag on.
Right. Well, I think that's very, very interesting, because the sort of way that I've always done commissions was I've not done a lot of them, but I've kind of limited my offer. Like I do this kind of pet portrait in this style, very, very specific. And then it's sort of a yes or no sort of offer. You take it, you leave it, that's what I offer. But what you're saying is that you're going exactly the opposite way, right? The complete opposite strategy, where instead of limiting your offer, you're actually expanding, doing something extremely custom for exactly their needs, with also a custom price.
Right. And I think too that the important part of this is building rapport with the client. The most important thing that I want people to know and understand is, if you're going to get into doing commissions and working with people, you're working with people. You're not working with big corporations. They have different needs, and people like it and they feel more confident. And one of the main things we want to do is like inspire confidence in us as artists, so that people are going to feel assured that, yeah, you know, here's hundreds of dollars and you're going to produce a great thing for them. Yeah. And if you can inspire that confidence in them, then they are going to be a joy to work with, and you're going to have a lot of fun doing their work, and it's going to be something that you're passionate about too.
Absolutely. Great point. So you mentioned that you don't do commissions full time, because obviously you're a teacher, and then you also have your YouTube channel. So you must be a very busy guy. So I'm curious, how many commissions you usually take, say in a month, in a year?
So for me, I like to juggle somewhere between 1 and 4 clients a month. And I think that that's a really stable amount for me, because I think I can manage that. And I've shown I've been able to manage that pretty well. My really big comfort level is somewhere between 2 and 3. That also kind of gives me the ability to not get bored working on a piece for long periods of time. And I get excited about starting up something new. And so I think that too, like when people look at commission artists, and I'm talking like really big artists out there on Instagram and DeviantArt and all other social media realms, they're watching their commission streams just like coming like day after day after day after day. And like you said, you know, I do a lot. And by the way, I'm also a doctoral student too. So I have that caseload on top of everything that I do. I just don't like downtime, I guess. Everything that I do though, even though, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of downtime, I still manage to spend time with like my wife and family, and I don't ignore them and all. But I really crafted everything that I do around things I love to do. And when you love something, you will find a way to do it. For me, the way I get it done is I own the night and I own the morning. So like I go to bed somewhere between like 10 and 11 at night. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. And because I'm a teacher, you know, school's open very early. I'll come in and I will do whatever I want until the time that I'm necessarily mandated to report here. So I view that's my time to do what I want to do. It's no different than if I was home sleeping and I woke up 15 minutes and drove to work. So I'm not somebody who can sit down, and I don't have such a structure in my life where I can sit down for like 8 hours a day and do it like some of these huge people. Like I can't do like Saki Chan can and just like sit down for like 12 hours and just knock out something amazing. But what I'll do is I just do it an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours at a time on the weekend. I can afford that. My kids are in bed. My wife is asleep. Like I am going to own the night and just do everything that I can. So that's predominantly how I get what I can done. And just to go back to, just to elaborate a little more on the previous question too, you asked, the more clients I get, the more I bump my offer too, because the way I see it is that the more clients I'm taking on, the more I have to divide my time and attention, the more I have to pay attention to. So therefore, I look at myself as like a product, like I'm supply and demand, right? Like every single time I'm demanded more, I expect more for.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
It's a very dehumanizing way of viewing myself, I understand, but it's very practical.
But I would think that some artists may be tempted to do the opposite. Like if they have a lot of work, to give a discount or something like that. But it's very smart, I think, that the way that you do it, that, yeah, if you have more work, then it's more demand on you. So it should be more expensive.
Definitely. Yeah, I can talk to you a lot about why you should not do discounts.
I have a lot to say about that too. So 2 to 4 commissions every single month is actually quite a large amount of work to be getting consistently month after month. I'm curious, how do you get that amount of work? What kind of promotions do you do? What do you find works best for you?
That's a great question. And as much as I have an answer for that, what I want to say too is it's just as important to know where not to look. There are a lot of websites that artists should not be spending any time on, in my opinion. So just to list out a few. I know your opinions on Fiverr. I'm of the same opinion. In fact, I absolutely destroyed it in one of my videos on art pricing mistakes.
We'll link that somewhere.
Yeah. And also, Artists and Clients is another really big platform that's very similar to Fiverr. I really don't agree with any art commission website that exists in which they're going to take your money from you. I don't believe that at all. Like, they are not an agency. They have no business taking money from you. And you're really just at the mercy of any type of algorithm in order to put out and receive any clients. It's completely worthless. Like, and if you've ever watched anything on my channel, I love DeviantArt a lot. DeviantArt has like a commission area on their page, and I don't deal with that crap. You literally should only be taking money, cash, PayPal, no cryptocurrency nonsense like that. So just as important as where to look is where not to look. Any website that's going to take your money away from you, anything where I have to whip out a calculator and figure out, well, I really want to get $200 from this, but they're going to take 8%. So what's that on? Like, I don't need that time. I just want cash.
Yeah.
So for me, what I found best, I am a huge proponent of DeviantArt. I've been very exclusively getting consistent commissions on DeviantArt for a long time. That's where I've started. I've actually recently now moved over to Reddit, which has been a phenomenal forum. In the last 4 months, I've found 4 clients on Reddit.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been pretty awesome. I did not expect that. Also,
Me
some
neither.
of my highest paid.
That's a very good thing to know with people.
Yeah, and like on Reddit too. No matter where you're going to go, what's important is that you have to be able to, and I'll just throw out some stuff. I have a whole like DeviantArt guide as well for like how you should do commissions, because 1,001 people do this totally wrong. But the most important thing is 2-part to me. Number one is that those are places where you can go and you can find the fish, rather than just casting your line out and sitting there for days, weeks, months, years, hoping somebody takes a bite. Find artists, or rather find clients that have work for you to do. And then when you respond to them, you have to be able to show them work that they want. I'm just going to give you a really popular example that drives me absolutely nuts all the time. Somebody will throw up a post and say like, oh yeah, hey, I want my Dungeons and Dragons character. My sorceress done. Can somebody please do this? I'm looking for like a really cool semi-realism style. And I'm like, okay, that's great for me. I'll start scrolling through the comments. And you'll start to see people that throw up like loads of not safe for work artwork on there. And then there's their furry artwork down there, and like pet portraits and like, realistic portraits. And I'm like, that does not inspire confidence from them. Like, you are absolutely not going to get the job unless that is 100% what they're looking for.
Yeah. Like a copy paste answer is just
like
not going to cut it.
That's right. Yeah. You need to make sure that you're not just generically sending people all of your art crap and hoping that maybe 1 or 2 of them bite on it. It's just not going to work out like that. So you need to make sure that you have examples and you supply those examples to a potential client that they'll want to do it. Like, if I'm going to do sci-fi work, I can't show them my high fantasy work. They don't care about this stuff. They want to see that genre. They want to see like huge mechs and armor-clad girls and big guns. Like, that's the stuff that excites them. Like, that's the kind of stuff they want to see. If you can't show them that, then that's what it is. For me too, what I'll do as far as advertisement, I never advertise myself on DeviantArt so much. They do have like a special forum called, it's not job offers, it's some advertisement version of that though.
Like
it's the second one I can remember. Services, yeah, that's the one thing. It's job services. I never really ever have gotten anything at all from that. Maybe just like 1 or 2 in 6 years. But on Reddit, on the other hand, Reddit seems to be really, really well done. And what I like about Reddit lately is that you can edit and I think that clients do this too, is that they'll edit their view according to newest, so that they can actually not just look at what the algorithm wants them to look at, like the hot topics. And also too, if you're looking for work online on any of these types of forums, and I'm going to throw on Facebook as well too. So there's 1 billion and 2 Facebook groups for people to get into for this as well. Then you definitely need to make sure that you're not applying to the post that has 100 job posting comments on it. I really heavily discourage people from posting on anything that has a significant amount of posts. And for me, like personally, if I were to quantify that, if I see anything that's over 30, I'm not even going to attempt it, because that's a lot. That's a very big pool of people. And more than likely, they're going to look at it. Just like the first like 10 or 20 of them. And beyond that point, honestly, if you have a respectable price range, you're not going to be considered, because they're going to opt for the people who commented last and want it cheapest. So I don't really recommend doing anything that's like the hot topic or the trending topic or just overly saturated. You have to hit it while it's hot.
Awesome. Well, you're giving us so much here. I'm like so excited. I'm asking you like very generic question and you're running with it and like giving us the gold nuggets. That's awesome.
You know, I really do want people to learn how to find these jobs, because they seem so elusive, but there's really simple strategies that I have found so that people can get to do what they love more and get paid for it, because you deserve to.
Absolutely. Preach. So I would love us to get into a little bit, what is your typical process to work with customers? Do you have specific rules? Do you have a contract in place, or is it more of an informal sort of process?
It's a great question. So my process, like I said before, it always starts with my qualifications of the client. I want to get to know them. I want to get to know what the process is. I want to get to know them on a very human level, because when I assess them like that, then it becomes a human process and not just a business transaction. Beyond that, though, then we become business people, right? So we have to start to, hammer out brass tacks here. So that's when I do require, for me, I require full upfront payment. And I really think that if you're working independently, this is what you should do, in my opinion. I do sometimes do the 50-50 model, but it's 50 upfront and 50 upon completion of a sketch, approval of a sketch. I think that's enough information. They can see that I'm committed. They can see that, yes, I'm working on the product and they're satisfied with it. I never, ever, ever recommend 50% or any percentage amount at the end of a project. Unless you're working with a very large corporate client, I don't recommend that model, because there's really no structure or guaranteed type of payment for that. And you're really leaving yourself vulnerable to get ghosted. You might get that honest client, but to be honest, there's a lot more dishonest clients from that. So because my philosophy is I'm not even gonna consider anything. I won't even look up a reference photo if I'm not getting paid to do so. I don't have any commitment to it yet, and the client hasn't shown me that they're committed to it either. I once had a client that I did some illustrations for a book for, and he sent me some manuscripts of the book and asked if I could read some of the chapters, and I just told him, like, okay, but I'm not going to do it without payment.
Yeah, I mean it takes a long time to do.
Right. And I mean, this is time away from other potential business things that I could be doing and other aspects of my art career. So if you're going to make me do that, then I want to be compensated for it. And he was fine, very understanding of that. So I think that independent artists working with small clients, you need to be compensated for anything that you're going to do with your time. Even if it's just like a fraction of what your commission-based price is, get compensated for it, because your time is valuable. I do have a contract in place, which I will typically only do for any type of client that wants multiple artworks. And I've put that into place simply because I've been burned. And this is a really nasty, unfortunate part of when you work with independent clients is that, and I've just come to accept this ugliness about it, but you should really expect to never get the full amount of work from them. So for example, just last summer, I got done working with a client who told me I was going to be making all these characters, like 30 plus characters for his book. I negotiated a good price with them, and I did 4. And then he ran out of money.
Wow.
So I have had this happen before. I've also had it where I had a client who just completely ghosted me after she told me that she was going to have, tons of work for me. And I did 2 for her. And then I never even heard that she received the final product. And then she blocked me. So I have no idea what happened there. But again, any type of consistent work from a single client, I would absolutely do a contract for. For me in a contract, what I would include is I'd include the time frame. I'd include payment on there, the payment structure of it, 100% or 50%, however you want to work that one out. Also, if you are going to do multiple commissions, this is my new philosophy on this, but I charge them for 30% of the amount. Let's say I'm going to do 10 commissions from somebody, one single person. I'm going to charge them full price for the first 3, and then I'm going to charge them a discounted price for the remaining 6, because I want to see that level of commitment from them so that I don't get screwed. Because I don't know about you, Ness, but for me, I don't feel good when I'm not getting paid the same amount of money that I could be getting. It makes me approach it with, I almost resent it a little bit. And I don't have the same level of enthusiasm for it. And that sucks. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Is it the same for you?
Oh, I absolutely hate doing discounts for bulk orders. I never do it because to me, it just means that I get to do a lot of work, all paid like crap. It doesn't make sense to me. If you have 1 piece or 10 pieces or 20 pieces, you pay the same price for all of them. That's how I decided to do it, because like you said, it just creates a sort of resentment. I'm stuck on this forever and not getting the same price that I could be pricing to someone else.
Right. And inevitably that's usually what happens is then somebody comes to me in the middle of that project who wants to pay me full price. And I like that person better and that project better. So I do the contract for that. The rest of it is going to be pretty informal. And one of the things that people should understand is when you do independent work, the work is always yours. And I know, Ness, this is something that people ask a lot in the Facebook group, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Copyrights is just complicated and not very many artists understand it, but it's really important to read up a little bit on it because you need to know your rights, especially when doing commissions.
Right. And I mean, for example, I had another artist, I had another client 6 months ago who told me he wanted me to do all these characters for his game. Supposedly it's in development and stuff, these character portraits, right? And he said he had 4 or 5 of them for me to do. He paid me for the first one, said we encountered some money trouble, it's COVID, whatever. So, I give him a break. I checked with this guy a number of times and he never really seemed to be able to get it together. And as far as I'm concerned now, we're not working together anymore unless he reaches out to me. So I put that out on my social media. That's my artwork. And I think a lot of artists doing commissions get into this weird ethical debate with themselves over well, I want to respect the client. What if I get a bad rep for it? But at the same time, they're disrespecting you by not allowing you to put it out on your artwork to attract more clients. I recently just put that whole process out on my YouTube video too, because I'm I'm not waiting forever for this guy to get his life together. If he's not committed to his project, then I'm not committed to his secrecy over it. This isn't a AAA game company that I'm working for over here. It's some indie people,
And unless you have anything that's signed, like a confidentiality, I'm not even going to try this word, but unless you have an NDA or something like that, you can post your art anywhere that you like. You don't need to be waiting on anyone's permission. It's your artwork, it's your copyright, your intellectual property belongs to you.
Yeah,
you can 100%. Do whatever you like with it.
Right.
So then the last question that I want to ask you is, what is the best advice that you would have for someone who's just starting out with commissions, doesn't really know what they're doing?
So the number one thing that you need to do is, first off, put a value on yourself, your artwork, and your mindset towards it is so hugely important. There are way too many artists, an overwhelming amount of artists out there who are trying to get commissions, and what you're really doing is free slave labor, and you're trying to get commissions for $5, $7, $20. And I've heard the arguments for that. It's better than nothing. It's a really immature mindset, and it's really degrading to all of us as well. So
Totally.
I would say commissioned artists need to understand is that you need to not be focused on the money first. And that seems contradictory to everything I've spoken about previously. But literally, when you're only focused on getting a little bit of money, you're losing focus on yourself and your development as an artist. Like, that should always be first. When you develop as an artist, you increase your value. And when your value increases, potential clients need to pony up and pay you more for it. And that's what I've experienced, because you need to be able to sustain a model where you scale your pricing. And if you're not scaling your pricing, then your artwork is either completely stagnated, you're only doing the same thing, or you're doing it too infrequently and you're focused on trying to get a few bucks here and there.
Absolutely.
So starting out, you need to have a respectable price. I've said in my previous videos on my channel about what I think would be a decent base price, but it depends on where you are in your career and what you have done for it. But yeah, you need to put a hard price on it and say, I am worth this. Because if you want to get $500 for a commission, and yeah, I mean, you could get just $50 commissions out there, but you do 10 of them, or you can wait for that one and do that and love every second of it. I'd rather do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. So, all right. Well, it was absolutely great talking with you, Sean. So much information. I'm sure my subscribers will be absolutely thrilled with everything that you gave us. So lastly, just tell us where can we find you online, your YouTube channel, your website, your Instagram, all of the links.
Yeah, awesome. So you can always find me on YouTube, The Art Mentor. I also have that handle for my Instagram. I also just my personal artwork Instagram is just my name, Sean Bianchi. You can also find me by Sean Bianchi on DeviantArt as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you later.
Awesome. We should do this again sometime. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. So that was it for the interview. Again, thank you so much, Sean, for your generosity and answering all of these questions. I learned a lot. I hope that you did too. I will leave all of Sean's links in the description below to all of his socials, his YouTube channel, all of the things. This was so fun to do, and Sean and I definitely want to collaborate on more videos in the future. If you enjoyed this interview, then definitely check out part 2 of this collaboration, his interview of me about big clients on his channel. The link to that will be in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to help our small channel grow. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in next video. Bye bye! Every single month. Oh, you don't have sound? Okay.